Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you joining us for today's webinar on IPR and Cyber Law. I, Ekankshi Gupta, is delighted to be your host for this session. Before we begin, a very few quick instructions for all participants. Please keep your microphones muted to avoid background disturbances. Keep your video off unless you are in a proper setting. Share your questions in the chat box. They will be addressed during the question and answer session. And to start the session, we ask you to please take a moment to complete the pre assessment form. Your responses will guide us in delivering a more effective webinar. This session is organized by the project CyberShield, an initiative of Naksh Foundation. In today's rapidly evolving digital era, ideas, creativity, and information have become some of the most valuable assets. With the growth of technology, innovation, online platforms, and digital communication, the need to protect intellectual creations and ensure cyber safety has become more critical than ever. Intellectual property rights safeguard the rights of creators and innovators, ensuring legal protection for inventions, trademarks, copyrights, and designs. At the same time, the increasing dependence on digital systems has given rise to cyber threats such as data breaches, identity theft, online fraud, and misuse of personal information, making cyber law an essential legal framework in the modern world. This webinar aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of IPR and cyber law, highlighting their significance, legal implications, emerging challenges, and practical relevance in today's digital society. The session will help participants become aware of their rights, responsibilities, and the legal remedies available in the digital and intellectual property landscape. It is my absolute honor to introduce our esteemed guest for today's session, a BLS LLB degree from the University of Mumbai and an LLM in Intellectual Property Rights from Queen Mary University of London, completed with merit. Ms. Malgaonkar has extensive expertise in intellectual property laws, technology and law, data protection and privacy laws, and regularly handles complex IP litigation, commercial disputes, and regulatory compliance matters. She has also advised businesses on GDPR compliance, data protection frameworks, and IP strategy at both national and international levels. With a strong blend of academic excellence and practical experience, we are confident that today's session on IPR and cyber law will be highly insightful. Please join me in warmly welcoming Advocate Padmaja.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Ekanshi, should we start with the session or how do we go about it?
No, ma'am, you can start the session.
Okay. So IPR and cyber law, two of the blooming topics or two of the most talked about topic in the current scenario. So I think IPR, a basic awareness people present here must be having. But I'll start with introduction to IPR. What are intellectual property rights, and what is the laws, and what is the legal framework around them in India, and uh, globally, how are they protected? So intellectual property is basically it's a product of creativity of the human mind. It can be an invention, it can be a artwork, a movie, a song, or anything which has some originality to it. So there are so first and foremost there are three, mainly like three well recognized IP laws in India. That is the trademark law, copyright law, and patent law. Apart from that, we have the geographical indications as well, and designs, right? But majorly commercially, if you see, then trademarks, copyright, and patent play a huge role, even from the economic point of view. And secondly, these three rights, these like, and along with design as well. So these rights are basically negative statutory rights given to the owner of the IPRs, the inventors, the creators of the intellectual property, to restrict others from using their intellectual property or misusing it in any form. It's basically, if you see a property, like if you compare it with the tangible property, then if you s- if you read a bit of history, you'll understand. There have been some kind of invention that has been going on since the times immemorial. But formal laws were formed only in the 20th century, and England was the first nation to recognize the IP laws. Uh, should I continue, Ekanshi?
Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Yeah. And if you see IP law, IP rights are granted to the owner a, for a duration of 20 years. And of course, they are subject to renewal. But 20 years time. Geographical indications are basically origin. If you see the Alfonso mango, which is very specific to the Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. So it has been, so the mango grown in that particular region has been granted a geographical indication of by the uh, registrar of intellectual property. Then there are design rights. Design rights protects the visual appearances, packaging, or texture, or any material by which that product is distinguished from other products in the market. And that is designed by the designs that is governed by the Designs Act of 2000. Design rights are given for 20 years. Then there is one more type of IPR. Um they are not exactly statutory rights, but there's something called as a trade secret. A trade secret is basically any formula, any databases, any formulation which is specifically used for that product, and that is being passed on from through that is being covered through agreements in form of confidentiality agreement or non-disclosure agreement, which is signed with the employees of the company. One such example of trade secrets would be the formula of your cold drink Coca-Cola. So the Coca-Cola company was very smart, and they decided to not to get it patented or get it registered as any other IP, but to keep it as a trade secret. So essentially, they have exclusivity over it all throughout since the time that company was incorporated. So that's how you strategize, because in normal course of IP, any kind of statutory IP right, that grants exclusive ownership only for the period of 20 years. After that, it comes in the public domain, and any citizen or anybody can just come and use your invention or your discovery or your trademark. But that's not the same with trade secrets. So next we move to the importance of IPR. So in today's time, when we have a lot of startups, we have a lot of MSMEs, we have a lot of these small scale businesses which have been started right from someone's living room to some bigger startup operating in any of the institutes, any of the national institutes of the country. So if the inventor, or if the person working on that knows that this particular invention, if I do, then I will be the only one to exploit it for the next 20 years. And of course, there are other ways where you can commercialize your own IP. For example, if I invented something, if I invented a patent, but I do not have the resources to manufacture it commercially, then I will be entering into a license agreement with the firm or organization or company which has the kind of resources to produce or to commercialize the patent that has been created by me. So essentially, that right vests with me all throughout the 20 years, but I can commercialize it and monetize it through the way of licensing it. And the same goes for trademark. One of the best example uh, for licensing or commercialization of IPR is the franchisee business, like how McDonald's function. The owner of McDonald's is sitting there in the United States of America. However, uh, any of the individual can write to the uh, team in team of McDonald's in India, and they can write a franchisee on their name. So for that, they'll have to keep their trademarks intact, their trade secret in form of their recipes intact, but they will have they have the resources and they have the infrastructure to to extend the business to from the economic perspective. So that is the importance of IPR. So that encourages your innovation and creativity. It protects, it promotes economic development, of course. It builds brands and it helps create a reputation. If you see, there are few FMCGs, like fast moving consumer good companies, who have a good brand name, or any pharmaceutical company. You just look at the name and you are like, okay, I trust this because I know this since last 20 years, and since last 20 years or so they have been making trustworthy products. So that's how you capitalize on your trademark. Then second aspect of it is from the point of view of the cultural and traditional knowledge in form of geographical indications. It protects, for example, there in the state of Andhra Pradesh there are these wooden toys that are being made. So that's a part of tradition. However, since it has been granted a status of a geographical indication, they can monetize it and they can commercialize it on a wider scale than they were doing it earlier. Plus, of course, you have a fair share of consumer confidence in you because of the IP profile that you build. It not just startups or small businesses, but companies strategize on their IPRs as well. In today's time of technology and digitalization, IPRs are far more important because everybody has a cell phone or a laptop in front of them most time of the day. So that's how, if your presence is there in the digital world, it helps you build your business. And of course there is a competition part, like it ensures that there is a fair and healthy competition in the market. We move to the other aspect of this webinar, that is cyber law. I am sure cyber law, a lot of you will be aware of what cyber law is. So it basically, cyber law is any is a regulation, is a legal regulation which governs digital technologies, the activities taking place on the internet, and digital technologies. If you see, we have a very easy and convenient way to, right from transferring money to someone sitting in any other corner of the world, to buying something online, to making arrangement for any event in your life. So basically everything has been shifted to that small screen of ours, which we take with ourselves all the while. Cyber law basically covers cybercrime, e-commerce, again, that is part of like our everyday life, as I said. Then there is data privacy, because we have everything online, so we have all our data on this small screen. So hence that it becomes very important that we have a certain set of regulations, stringent policies to ha- to cover the transaction that goes on, or uh, it basically protects your own interest. Then there is digital contracts. You buy something online, you sign a contract with some website, right from taking up some educational course to like booking any of your tickets, a form of a digital contract that you're signing. Again, you're giving a lot of your information to the internet, to these websites. And then there is, of course, intellectual property here, since each and every company has their own trademarks. They have their own content. When you sign up for any educational website, then they have their own content. That content might have copyright protected content, or or on e-commerce site there can be any trademark, any. It's easy to counterfeit. It's very easy to just recreate something online. Now with the advent of AI, it's all the more easier. You can just ask AI to create a similar trademark to what these companies have already registered and using for the last 20 years or so. So then there is digital information about a lot of things, a lot of these government circulars, a lot of circulars by the police administration, schools, colleges, private institution. Everything is online, everything is on the internet. Okay, so essentially we have come to a, so basically that's like an entire world in itself. So if you see retrospectively, the last 10 years back, we hardly had anything online. And if you see today, it's merely impossible for, you know, people to function without having a presence in the digital world. So cyber law basically provides a legal recognition for electronic transactions, digital security of your digital information, your personal data. It aims to balance technological innovations with digital safety. So primarily it's governed by the Information Technology Act, which is passed by 2000, and then there are certain provisions of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So essentially, section 65, 66D, 69, 43A, and 66 and 66B deals with a lot of these uh, as cyber crime or cyber law, basically that deals with tampering with the computer source code, the software. Then there is cheating using any kind of computer resource. Then there is power. The government has power to block certain websites and data protection. And then there is hacking. Okay, so are you guys with me till now? Any questions? Any queries? Anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. You can just uh, drop a message if you want, or we can just continue ahead. Okay, Ekanchi, can you help out? Are there any questions, or should we proceed?
And we can proceed.
IPR is also in blockchain. Yes, yes, of course, it's in blockchain. There are a lot of softwares, a lot of algorithm that goes into that. But yes, yes, of course. But I think right now we'll focus on going ahead with aspects of cyber law, because IPR in itself is a huge domain. It has a huge spectrum to cover. So this session, what I'll be doing is I'll be just try to explain you guys how the interface of IPR and cyber laws work in real world. Yeah. So whatever questions you have, you can email me, or you can write in the chat box later once this session is over. Okay, so the key aspect of cyber law, if you see, is e-commerce. For first and foremost, as you see, because there are a lot of these transactions happening on a day-to-day basis on e-commerce websites. So there has to be a comprehensive legal framework for all the transactions that take place, the digital signatures, the information that the customers put in, and the records. Like for example, if you sign into Amazon, you order something, it has your information in with regards to your name, your phone number, your email ID, and your address. So how long should that information stay with the website? Should they delete it within the period of 15 days, or should they keep it forever? So with regards to your digital payments, there are certain RBI guidelines and circulars which are in place, that this card, that particular your debit card or your credit card, cannot be stored in that on that website for after a specific period of time. But since we just sign it, we just give consent to it, half the time, half of the people are not even aware what are they consenting for. So that is something where cyber law comes in place. Like if a third party gets access to that information and they misuse it, or they try to like cheat us, or play any kind of fraud on us on basis of that information, then how do we go about it? So second is the cyber security part. So there has to be a strict framework against the digital crime that have been happening lately. You guys must be aware that a lot of these digital arrest scams are being coming in the news of lately. Hacking is, I think, pretty old now compared to what we have right now. Then there is digital fraud for with regards to your bank account, payment, insurance details. Then there is one more. Okay. Uh, then there is of course cyber stalking and data theft. Data theft is basically if a company has your records or any kind of data, then there has to be a strict provisions as to how long will that data be stored, in what form will that data be stored. If you see WhatsApp is an app. Okay, we send messages, we send share details. We have a lot of photos and other data on that which is sensitive. WhatsApp, the company claims that there is end-to-end encryption for their messages and that no third party can actually decode it or read it or can access it. But then there can be any third party who can hack the software or hack your app and get the details. So in such case, your cyber law comes in picture. How would outdated cyber threats in India? Yeah. So coming to it, the cyber law or so basically we do not have any legislation in form of cyber laws in India as of now. Okay. So it has been governed by the Information Technology Act, which has a lot of amendments coming in, and the police are trying to create a lot of awareness with regards to this. There is internet governance. A lot of policies have been taken out by the Reserve Bank of India and the minister and the concerned departments of the government. So then there is internet governance basically, that there are various rules for online platform. If you see recently there was a ban on online gaming, online gaming apps by the Supreme Court of India. So that is one of it. See, I understand when I think someone just commented that our cyber laws are outdated. I am well aware that the cyber laws are outdated compared to the technology that we have. But if you see the pace at which the technology is growing, every day there is some new app, some new information, some new development in this front. So we can't really, the legislature as well as the courts cannot keep up with that. It's humanly impossible. So I think that's the gap that is there. And I really hope that, that there is a bridge between that gap. So basically, cyber crimes. Okay, how are cyber crimes affecting IP? So apart from software hacking or unauthorized system access or online frauds, there is a lot of scope to copyright infringement. There is software hacking, whereas the hackers or the infringers reverse code the software that is being generated. The source code, if you know, software has source code and there's another code to it. So the source code is what that is written by someone who develops it. So there is one way of reverse coding or getting at the source code. So that is one of the way that this infringement has been taking place. Then there is digital piracy. Basically, you take up there is some photographs clicked by some renowned photographer. He has his copyrights on it, but we just casually pick it up from the internet. We might use it to sell it, like in the market, or use it in any of other artworks and then resell it. Then there is serious problem of data theft on social media. And again, copyright infringement, as I said, it is facing a huge problem on the internet. If you see, there was this GB trend on social media where you could just convert your photos in an animated style made by a Japanese artist, GB. So he has copyrights over all his creations. He's one of the finest cartoonists in the world. But with AI, it was possible within a few seconds to just upload your photo, you write a prompt, and then you get a GB version of your photo. So I think that has a very serious concern with copyright infringement, or just any artist losing his own originality in his artwork. So that is also one of the reason, that is this one of the space where IPR and cyber law should, come together from the policy point of view, and then resolve those issues. I think at the global level there are attempts going on uh, to legislate AI in the UK and the US, especially, and some of the European nations, that they are trying to bring AI in the scope of IP laws. But it's been difficult because IP laws are very traditionally rooted, and AI is something which is completely new. What is the solution to the? Okay, I have this question. Can you just repeat your question? I can't see it in your comment.
Yes, ma'am. What is the solution to the international or borderless nature of IPR infringement while technical gap between the laws and emerging technologies like AI is developing countries like India?
Yeah, so basically there is no like one shot solution, but there are these lot of conventions that are applied, that for which India is a signatory. This Bern Convention. WIPO is a regulatory authority which keeps a tab. It tries to make policies, but yeah, given the nature of digital technology and IPR in today's time, it is too difficult to restrict any infringement in one border. So cross borders issues are one of the major concerns right now. So there are a lot of these policies which are evolving. There are a lot of these legal expert, AI experts, IP experts who are trying to give their policies. And the WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, it is trying to implement policies. And since India is a signatory nation to with the WIPO, and we have already have a lot of conventions in place, so I hope that we really bridge the gap that is there because of the emerging technologies. So intermediary compliance is something that should, that looks like an effective solution to these issues. And secondly is creating awareness with people, that people who have their own IP, who are artists, who are creators, who are IP lawyers, they should keep a track. They should try to find any potential gap or any potential means by which infringement can be possible, whether cross border or within the borders. So I think a strong need for awareness about IP laws, and not just registration. It's not like you get your IP registered and then you just sit back and relax. You should constantly monitor it. Are there any other people who are trying to misuse it, or you're trying to use counterfeit products from the registered IP, or any kind of infringement that is going on? So apart from registration, this also plays an important role. In fact, I would give an example here. A lot of these companies, if you see, like biscuit companies or these food products, they have specifically appointed agents or employees who go to the local markets, who take photographs of any infringing packaging that is found of similar products. If you see, there are these judgments by Madras High Court, and two of the renowned FMCG companies were in the court because the other company hired someone. So they went to the local stores, they clicked photographs, and then they filed a suit against the company. So that is one way how you keep things in tab until the time we have a concrete legal legislation and a legal framework. to you know uh, to tackle this problem. And then there are criminal laws in place. if uh, if there is any, so if there is any kind of trademark infringement or copyright infringement, there is a provision in the Copyrights Act or the Trademarks Act that you can file a police complaint against, like a criminal complaint against that infringement. So that is one of the solution. Because and the police department has set up their own cyber crime department as well. So it's not like we are not doing anything, but with the pace of technology and the pace of technology globally, it is a task to keep everything on track at the same time. But I think we are in a much better position than what we were, like what our country's legal system was in the past 5 years or so in terms of awareness. Okay. So again, as I said, in interface of IPRs and cyber laws is something that is off lately very much over the news. That there is some new local e-commerce website which is selling fraudulent goods by by packaging them, or by using a similar trade name to anyone who has all to the a similar trade name as a registered trademark. So in that case, the registered trademark owner can take action against the person who is using a similar trade dress or trademark. Does IPR protect creative? And yes, of course, IPR. The entire point of IPR is to protect the creative and original it. But yeah, it has to be original. Each and every IPR has some prerequisite to it. Like for a patent, for example, there has to be an inventive step. That invention has to be capable of a like they for application in industry, and few of such. So yeah, each and every law governs different types of IP. They have different kind of prerequisite, and I've just tried to summarize it, because explaining each and every IP would require a separate session in itself. So yeah, okay. So coming to the legal recourse that is available for infringement of IPRs and infringement of IPR in the cyberspace, especially. So first and foremost, that the statutory IP laws provide for to the owner of the IP is that injunction. You can approach the court of law, the civil court, for and get an injunction from the infringing party, either on a temporary basis or a permanent basis. And then there are damages and monetary compensation. Damages, as in if any third party benefits from any kind of illegal sale by using a registered trademark, then the registered trademark owner can claim the profit that the infringer has procured. Then there is seizure of infringing goods. The seizure and destroying of the goods, that is done through the court receiver, either through the court receiver or through police. And with regards to cyber law, then there you can file a complaint with the cyber crime cells that is present at the police station, or you can report at through the national cyber crime portal. And then you can apply for the government for website blocking or content blocking. And even on individual website, there is a mechanism for grievance redressal, where you can raise your issue that this particular seller, this particular vendor is infringing my trademark. I am the owner of this trademark, and this has been, and the infringer is using a similar trade dress. So in that case, that website can help you to bring down the infringing contents on the website. And of course, there is a huge role played by individuals and organizers that with regards to protection of their intellectual property in the cyber or the digital space. First is, as I said, evaluating your own IP and looking for any potential infringement or any potential scope of damage. Then, of course, there has to be a timely action to curb infringement, and there has to be measures to secure your personal data, secure your passwords. Whenever you're using any third party license, then you make sure that you take a license. IPR and deep. Okay. Okay, I'll get back to your question first. Let me just complete this. Then they can use license content for that. Then there has to be a system of checks and balances with the owners, that how much damage is caused, what is assessing that damage. So all that thing. Okay. And of course, there are a lot of emerging challenges that we are facing with each day, with rise of AI and cross-border crimes. I know it's been like they are pretty testing times, given the technological advancement and the policy advancement that we have currently. And of course, data privacy concerns are there. Then there are jurisdiction issues. So I think more or less, we are heading towards a global world where there will be global laws to taking care of this. Maybe an insurance policy, like how it works for maritime law. Since so something on that line uh, should be there in the pipeline. Okay, so yeah, so basically, if you see, IPR is something that is non-negotiable in the commercial world, and for modern modern business, that modern businesses thrive a lot on this whole digital infrastructure. So that makes securing their IPR in this space very important, and understanding the law and to operate. Then, of course, there has to be legality to it, and the citizens, especially all the citizens should be aware of what is right, what is not, and there should be a mechanism to take timely action against any infringer or any criminals operating in this space. So yeah, I think this was it about a very basic, I would say. I tried to cover most of the important aspect of these two areas of law. uh, okay, now we go to questions. I think you can just ask me. You can unmute yourself and ask questions. That would be much better. Okay, there is Preet Kumar. What is the solution for IPR infringement and deepfake manipulators, cybercrime related to personality rights, not only for celebrities but for commoners, especially women in India? Celebrity access the court easily, but what about commoners, female victims who can't access law enforcement easily or openly? Okay, so I wouldn't say that female victims can't access the law enforcement very easily, because there are laws in place. You can always approach the police station, file. There are women's cell in the police station, and celebrities. Okay, so you are actually mixing two different issues here, I would say. Celebrities are going to court to protect their personality, because their personalities, like their looks, their voice, their dialogue delivery, their smile, that is something that gives them business, that fits, that actually has made their image. Like if you see, you recognize them, right? So that is completely different. And for commoners, especially women, so women, of course, if their photographs are being misused or being illegally reproduced somewhere, then obviously, then of course, that falls under the umbrella of BNS. So you can approach the nearest police station and file a police complaint against that. And you can write to the website that this content is, harmful. It is not like it is infringing my privacy. So your IPR thing for celebrity is something that is completely different, and what you're talking about is, that women's safety that has been compromised on the legal or on this entire digital space. So these are two very different issues, Preet Kumar. Okay, so yeah, I hope you have got a answer to your question. Okay, any more questions? Does IPR protect creative and innovative works? Yes, IPR are meant to create creative and innovative works which are original in nature. Original creation of a human as of now. AI or anything which is generated by AI is not granted IPR rights as of now. Of course, there are few cases, but yeah. What is the solution to international or borderless nature of IPR infringement? While technical gap between the laws and emerging technologies like AI in developing countries like India. Okay, as I said, that is something that is where the policies are lacking, and cross-border issues and evolving technology is something that is still trying to make its way in the statutory laws. How would outdated cyber laws will multiplexing cyber threats in India? What does this question mean exactly? Multiplexing cyber threats in India? Multiplying, you mean? Okay, guys. Any questions?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that enlightening and eye opening presentation. We sincerely
Thank
thank our esteemed speaker for sharing valuable insights and expertise on the topic of intellectual property rights and cyber law. Your knowledge, experience, and practical perspective have greatly enriched this session and provided meaningful learning to all the participants. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the participants for their active presence, interest, and engagement throughout the webinar. Your enthusiasm made this session truly interactive and successful. We hope this webinar has enhanced your understanding of IPR and cyber law and will help you apply this knowledge in your academic, professional, and digital lives. With that, we officially conclude the session. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you once again for being a part of this learning journey.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you everyone for this wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.